Adam goes, hey, God, my wife is running away. So they send some angels after her. She doesn't want to come back. So instead of coming back to be with Adam and having to have missionary sex for the rest of her life, she opts to be a demon and have 100 of her children die every day.
That is so fucked up. It's fucked up. So fucked up. It is just so damn fucked up. That's fucked up.
Welcome back to That's So Fucked Up, a podcast about cults, murder, and other generally fucked up stuff. We're your hosts. I'm Ashley Richards.
And I'm Michelle Mosher.
Hey guys, welcome. This would normally be Patreon only, as our patrons know. For the last, about 2 years, we've been doing Patreon exclusive interviews. So we've got close to 30 exclusive interviews with experts and all kinds of other cool people.
I will say I'm a little salty that the Amanda Knox interview was right before I became your co-host, because in a very weird way that only a young true crime addict could, I've been fangirling over Amanda Knox since her case happened and she was found innocent. Fucking crazy.
You know what? She's a really cool gal. We should try to get her back.
I bet she is. Just introduce me to her.
I'll wait a little while so it's not super annoying. Like, hey, will you come be our friend again?
It's me again.
During the holidays, it gets a little bit hard to book guests. As everyone knows, it's a pretty crazy time this year for everybody. Business-wise, family and friends-wise, money-wise, everything. So...
everywise.
So Michelle and I have decided to start a new segment instead for the foreseeable future. And it is called Ash and Michelle Do the Bible. And today we are releasing this episode to everybody because we want y'all all to know what's going to go on down in the Patreon for the next probably 4 months. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the Bible. There's even more than one Bible, which confused the fuck out of me, but Michelle's going to explain that. So if you're like me and you don't know jack shit about the Bible, or you just want to hear the stories told in the words of Michelle and explained like you're 5, then I hope you enjoy this episode and join us over on Patreon. Patrons, hi. Thanks for being here. We love you.
We love you.
I'm excited to start our new segment.
Me too. Ashley, in honor of this new segment, I'd like to introduce a sub-introduction song. It's not a full song, but it's just a micro song that I've entitled Let's Get Biblical. So
I love
Ashley,
it.
Let's get biblical, biblical.
Biblical.
I wanna get biblical. Get into the Bible, yeah. Let me hear your Jesus talk. Your Jesus talk. Let me hear your Jesus talk.
Jesus talk. Your Jesus talk.
I wrote that for you.
Oh my God, I loved it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And it's perfect because it is a combination of both a delightful song, play on words, and also an Office reference.
Yes, I absolutely knew that.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? Safety training day? No, sexual harassment.
Let's get ethical.
Ethics training day.
Yes. Ethics training day. And today we are going to start where it feels most appropriate.
Are you going to train me on ethics today, Michelle?
I mean, there's some ethics in here.
You going to tell me how to be a good person?
There's definitely some of that up in here.
Dope.
Before we get into it, I want to make a little disclaimer that I am not a biblical scholar. Got 9 or 10 years deeply rooted in Christianity, went to Christian college for a year, have read the Bible cover to cover, but also know that a lot of this is going to be my interpretations and what I was taught in my branch of Christianity, as well as doing other research and things. But just wanted to say that because I know that obviously, like we said, different branches of Christianity have different interpretations of different parts of the text, which means I might say something and that's not how our listeners have maybe interpreted it. So just kind of take that and...
Well, I was just going to say, and we are aware that a lot of our listeners do have some sort of Christian background, or...
Absolutely.
We're not dissing anybody.
No.
We're just diving in, trying to figure out what's going on.
It is literally just looking at the text as a text and finding the fucked up elements of it. But of course, if you practice an organized religion and it makes you happy and you don't use it as an excuse to be mean to others, because some people do that, then fucking you do you, honey boo boo.
Get it.
Live your best life. Live your best religious life and make yourself happy, because do that.
Equality for all the people.
And equality. Yeah. So let's dive in. Yeah, we're going to start where it makes the most sense to start, which is in the beginning. Literally. In the beginning.
So this is like, is this
that's the first
BC? Is this AD?
This is so fucking BC. Do you know what BC and AD
Before
stand for?
Christ and after death. What?
So,
No?
before Christ, yes. A lot of people think that, but AD actually means Anno Domini, which is Latin for the year of our Lord. So if you've ever heard someone say, oh, the year of our Lord 2022, that's why they say it. There you go. Fun fact.
Oh, that's really funny. I bet even a bunch of
A
Bible
ton.
readers thinks that it means after death.
I thought that for a very long time. So like,
Maybe because you're not on the same level as me. Since this is something that I found out, I will relay this to the listeners. Y'all, there are multiple Bibles and multiple books
yes.
within those Bibles. So there's the Catholic Bible, the Mormon Bible, and then the King James Bible, which is what we're going to go off, right? Because it's like the main Christian one. Dude, look how much I know already. It's like crazy.
Yeah, you're
I know.
crushing it. The regular, I call it regular because I was a Protestant Christian. But there's like the Bible, and you think of like the Bible that you find in hotel dresser drawers.
So weird.
Is typically the King James, and that text has been translated to a bunch of different versions too. So there's like they basically try to make it more readable, but it's the same Bible. It's just it's not a regular Bible. It's a cool
The
Bible.
Mormon Bible is the same Bible?
No, sorry. The King the King James version, like when you think of the Christian Bible, that the King James version is like the with these and thous
Right.
and
The Mormons
Adam
and
begat.
the Catholics, they did their own Bible, kind of, right?
They did their own
Okay.
Bible. But also that Christian Bible has been translated into what they call different versions. So there's like the New Living Translation, the New International Version, the English Standard Version. And it's basically people who come in and say, they're like, this Bible's hard to read. We're going to make it better to read. And so they put it in different words to make it more approachable or more whatever.
So is that Kat lent me the Bible for complete idiots? Is that a version that...
That would probably be a translation, unless the only thing I can think is, because I haven't seen it, but if it's like chunks of text and then explanation.
I think it's more of like a summary. Outing myself. I'm sorry, Kat. I haven't even opened it yet. Kat and I met up and
you know
she
what?
showed
'Cause that's
me
why
a
I'm here.
glossary. That helped. She was like, all these stories in the left column were in the Jewish Bible, and then all the ones in the right column
Oh, that's awesome.
were in the Christian Bible. So I know a little bit.
That's awesome. I love that. We'll be pulling from a couple different Bibles. The main content will be the stories in what we think of as like the Christian Bible, but we also have some little tidbits from the Catholic Bible, the Hebrew Bible, and even some other Hebrew texts because they tell the bigger
Okay,
story.
hold on though.
Mhm.
Is this the Old Testament or the New Testament?
Old Testament.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so we're going to the way back
Wait,
times.
but if
Literally
you go
the
to
first
church
words are in the
today,
beginning.
don't they look at the New Testament?
We look at all the
Holy
testaments.
fuck.
The New Testament is placed more weight on because we believe that they believe.
Michelle's like, oh
that
my god,
that
I'm
is
going
kind
back
of
to
the-
my. What was the
Oh,
name of your
God.
group? What was your name? What was it called?
Mount Hope
Mount
Church.
Hope Church Days.
Mount Hope Church Days. Yep. Oh, wow, that was weird. So the New Testament, it's when Christ came and sacrificed himself for everyone's sins. And the idea is that it kind of creates this life of more grace and
Because
more
in the Old
opportunities.
Testament-
The Old Testament is super old
It's
school.
pretty hardcore, right?
Go to
It's like,
jail.
go to jail right
Straight
away.
to jail.
Stone her to death
We
right
will,
away.
God will flood the world. God will destroy the whole ass city. Like
He's
it's
gonna kill your
bad.
baby.
So,
Yeah, like bummer
yeah.
shit in the first one, right?
Bummer city
Yeah.
in the Old Testament.
So
a
we're
lot.
starting
But
there.
we're starting there.
because I like a bummer.
We are starting where you're going to open your Bible. Well, I mean, you're not physically going to do it, but like open your Bible to page 1. That's where we're starting.
I don't know. I guess it's because I'm
So-
like 5. I thought you were gonna say open your butt.
Open your butt. That's where we're starting. Welcome the Spirit of the Lord into it. Okay, that's an interesting way to begin this story. And here we are. All right. So before it gets too fucked up, we've got to do a little bit of preamble. So if you're familiar at all with the creation story, do you know about the whole first 6 days and then on the 7th day, God rested? Let's start from the...
You can
Let's
tell by
lay it all
my
out.
face. I'm like,
All right.
I've heard the 7 days thing.
So basically God exists and there's like fucking nothing. And it's just like him. And so he decides he's going to create heaven and earth.
Is he a person in this?
He's a god, but like
Does he live in the sky?
a male
Does
personification.
he live like on Earth?
There's not a sky. So this is real hard for people to picture because our brains, if you think about the human experience, our brains don't really have a concept of infinity and of nothing because like we don't have to wrap our heads around that as people. If you really want to break your brain, picture like God existed and he's just always existed.
But there's nothing else.
He never started. There's nothing else. It's just him and he's just kind of
Dinosaurs never came.
there.
Okay.
Not yet. And they're not.
And they don't come?
There are some spots where people think they mention the Christians because, well, oh, we'll get there. Ooh, there's so much. There's so much.
I'm going to stop asking questions because you have a job to do, and I'm going to completely stop you from doing that if I let every curiosity just stumble out of my mouth. So zip it.
I get that. But, along the way, feel free. So just to avoid and God. And then God's like, let there be light. And then there was. So what I love is that the Bible is very like, and God said, let there be light. And then there was. And it was good. And like everything he says, he's like, and it was good. And then he's like, you know what? I like light, but I don't want it all the time. So let's also have dark. So he did that thing.
And it was good.
And then he was like, and it was good. Every time he's like, and let there be this. And it was good. And let there be this. And it was good. And so they kind of just make it sound like he is just saying stuff and it's happening. And also they make it sound like he's real tired from doing it because he doesn't do that much every day. So I don't know how hard this all was. Because day one, literally, we go from nothing to day and night.
Okay.
Day and night. Ooh, ooh, the lonely stoner seems to free his mind at night. So, and that's it. One of my whole ass work days was just, well, let there be light and let's split that from darkness.
Wow, Michelle.
That feels good for the day.
You don't know how much energy you have to exert to create light and dark, though.
That's true.
Let's
I'm
hold
sorry.
off on
That's
the
true. I've never
judgments a
created
little
light
bit,
or
okay?
dark.
You know, like, wow.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you for standing up for God here.
Well, somebody has to.
Somebody has to. Day 2, God creates a firmament.
Wait, is this when
that
he created
divides
cats and
and
dogs? Because I've seen a lot of shirts about this.
No, but I'm confused about where you're shopping for clothes. And the firmament is basically just a big ass solid dome that is created to divide like blue upper sky water from down on the ground water. And I feel like this is just because people didn't really know how the earth worked, because it's like The Simpsons where they put a dome over the city, but just the whole place. It's not
I don't know.
there.
But haven't you seen those shirts?
There's not like a real
that are
plastic
like,
dome.
On the third day, God created cats.
No.
Where am I shopping?
And also, where are you shopping? And also, that's inaccurate. Because, like, okay, so day 2 is just,
firmament.
Let me divide up the water, the up water and the down water.
Is like the sky and
Day
the ocean.
3.
I'm looking for real meaning here when there's none to be found.
I get it. He hasn't really, yes to the ocean, but like he hasn't actually created the sky yet. He does that later.
Okay.
So it's just
he just kind of created the
water
ocean
up there or something. Yeah, they don't do a lot of scientific
like
explanations
that.
since they wrote this back in the
I'm somebody who has questions.
I know. And I wish this is that moment where you're like, I have questions. I'm like,
I don't have answers.
I don't have
Stop
that
it.
answer. And no one does because it's the Bible.
Only God knows.
Ashley, put those questions on the shelf.
My bad. You know what? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I should have remembered that from the step 1. Questions on the shelf.
You should.
You guys, that is from Mormonism, but I think it can be applied in all kinds
of
places.
Apropos, like the Pentecostal Christian version would be, you just have to have faith.
And that is a thought-terminating cliche. Everybody should read Cultish by Amanda Montell. Amazing.
Amazing. So before we get to day 3, where God did not create cats.
The fuck? When did he get to that?
Break.
Okay.
So it's day 3, and this is when God basically gathers up all the water into one spot. I guess Pangea. This bitch don't know about Pangea.
You know about Pangea.
So he creates. We know about Pangea.
You're telling me.
Yeah, creates dry land, grass, seeds, plants, and he creates plants. And he's like, you know what, plants? I created the first round. Y'all got this from here.
That
so he gives them
enough.
the ability to just keep doing the things.
Like, I can't keep training you guys. Like, I got a lot to do.
Yeah, I can't just keep making you. Yeah, he's real busy. He's got other words to say to like make sense.
Yeah. And I think "and it was good" is going to be my new catchphrase.
And you're like, yeah, I did this today.
And it was good.
And it was good. Day 4, we get seasons, sky and sun. So this is where the sky comes in. So it's confusing. What did firmament put up there? I don't know. But day 4 is when we get the sky and the sun and the stars and the moon. And then he done. Day 5 is where you get cats, since you were very concerned. Yeah. Day 5 is all the creatures of the sea and the sky. Oh, you know what? No, I'm sorry. Day 6 is where we get cats. Oh,
Wow, he just really is taking his time on cats, huh?
taking his real sweet time.
So day 5.
Day 5, sea and sky. So all the fishies, all the birds, because like no fucking evolution. You can't believe in evolution. You can believe that like animals got better because we can actively see that happen with our own eyes now. There are people who believe that God created everything exactly as it is today, and I don't understand how they explain anything.
So are there Christians who believe in evolution, but they think that God did it? Well, like we evolved from like monkeys and like there was dinosaurs and stuff, but like God was making all that happen. Is there like a version where there's that?
Definitely.
Oh, okay.
I would say, because you have to think, there are so many people who practice Christianity. You see a whole range from people who literally believe that the Bible word for word is exactly how everything happened. And then you have people who believe that the Bible is a guiding set of principles for us. And, you know, it's written by man, so it's fallible, but it kind of tells us how God wants us to live our lives, and kind of every span in between, because there are so many different churches and so many different church leaders. And
can I just say, I
shit
think
evolves.
part of the reason I think religion is so silly is because it's like, oh, we all believe in this like same thing, but just like tiny variations of it are different. So let's get into big wars and like murder each other over it and stuff. It's like, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, you guys.
People love to kill each other over God. All right. We are only on the days. We got a lot. We haven't even got to the fucked up stuff.
This series is going to take the next 3 years.
It's going to take, these are going to be long-ins apparently. So we got day 6 is cattle and other land beasts. So there's cats.
And dogs.
No, don't fuck with cats.
Dog people too.
And dogs.
I swear to God, the shirts, it's not where I shop, Michelle. It's where I see in the world. Like, I swear, like, grandmas love a shirt that say, like, and on the 7th day or the 6th day, God created dogs.
Why are you so surrounded by grandmas? I have a lot of questions we don't have time to answer this morning. So day 6 starts with cattle and other land beasts. And this is where some folks believe the dinosaurs came in. And
let go of the shirt, Ashley. Nobody cares
enough about the sun. Enough about the sun.
Nobody cares.
You're like, okay, but like the shirt says. Like, fuck
your grandma's shirt.
Much Bible to talk about.
Okay, what happened on the 7th day?
Off the shirt thing. No, 6-day part 2. We finally get people.
Ugh, that's where he fucked up, huh?
Yeah, for sure. No, it was good.
Oh, sorry. It was good. It was good.
Yeah. The line about people says, God says, let us make in our image and likeness. And so he says, like, let us. So sometimes people think maybe he's got some angels. Maybe there are lesser gods that exist.
And who was there writing down his quotes, just out of curiosity, since he was there by himself? Who was his scribe that was writing down his words?
You're going to have to put that question on the show.
Okay, my bad. Because I thought he was by himself, but there seems to be a lot of direct quotes here.
A lot of direct quotes. Because there are books that aren't in the Bible. There's a whole thing about how they decided what books should actually be part of the Bible and which ones they were like, no, these aren't really God's words,
and
but
like,
these
who
are.
Who decided that?
It's a whole...
Just like a tribe of men? That's why
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
It is a group of
A
men.
group of men decided? Ugh.
Yes, go figure.
Wild.
So the other thing I always thought, because, you know, we're created in God's image and likeness, and this was a question I often had when I was a Christian. Did God have a belly button? He didn't
You
need
would
one.
have that fucking question.
I thought about this so many times. I'm like, he didn't need it because he just existed. But if we're created in his image.
So did you ever ask that in church? And they were like, shut the fuck up, Shell.
They actually told me no, God wouldn't have had a belly button. And I was like, that's a weird thing for you to just claim to know. It's super weird for you to just be like, no, God didn't have a belly button. Oh, yeah? Tell me why,
They
Brad.
hated kids like you
Did you
and
fucking
questions
see
like
it?
that.
They were like, God, I gotta get out of youth ministry. These fucking teenagers.
Did you ever do youth ministry?
I mean, I never like formally did it. I think I delivered 2 sermons at my youth group.
Wow.
And I used to lead Bible study.
And here you
I
are,
got a whole history.
Fucking
Here
15
I am
years later,
teaching
leading
you-
Bible study again.
Leading fucking Bible study
Wild.
still. Very different twist. Full circle. And okay, so this is when God's like, all right, Adam, well, he doesn't call him Adam yet. Like, bro, who I created, you're in charge of this
On
place.
the 7th day?
We're still on day 6. Day 6 is a big one. For all the mockery I did at days 1 through 5 being real easy. Day 6, he put the work in. So he's like, bro, you're in charge of all this. Just figure it out. I don't have time to just keep running this shit. So you are in charge here. And then it says, so this is interesting because you might be familiar with where Eve came from Adam's rib. Have you heard that story?
Yeah. Explain that more.
Oh, well, I will. Okay. I'll dive in. So I'm like, wait, let's not get there. Because it said here, God created man to his own image. To the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And this is important because this shows men and women being created at the same time. And this is where a lot of people say, yo, Eve wasn't the first woman, and it may have been this woman, Lilith. Have you heard of Lilith Fair?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's who this is named after, because Lilith is kind of seen as this female empowerment, independent woman symbol. And you don't get the details of Lilith in the traditional Christian Bible. You see elements of her in the Jewish Bible and some sacred Jewish texts. There's a little bit about her later in the Bible, but you don't get this like whole ass story. But they tell it other places, and I'm going to tell it to you because it's a little fucked up.
Okay. That's what I'm here for.
So Lilith, in Hebrew, apparently Lilith also means screeching owl.
It's either this really cool lady or a screeching owl.
Or a screeching owl.
Easy to confuse.
So basically, the big picture is Lilith is Adam's first wife, and she's disobedient, so God gives Adam a second, better wife.
And just kills Lilith, or what?
Well, basically, here's what happens. So Lilith and Adam are chilling. They're like, yeah, whoa, look at this. We got this whole ass earth to ourselves. And if you take it at a big picture, 10,000 foot view, it's basically like Adam wanted to be dominant over Lilith, and Lilith said, no, fuck you, Adam. We are equals because we were created from the same earth at the same time.
Yeah.
And Adam wasn't into that. If you look at the exact text, it actually says that Adam wanted Lilith to lie under him. And Lilith was like, no, you need to lie under me. So it could be interpreted that this whole ass argument started from who wanted to be on top. Adam's like missionary, and Lilith is like cowgirl.
Bitch. I'm the boss.
Yeah.
I'm digging this Lilith.
And I mean, look, honestly, dude, cowgirl gets tiring. So I don't know if Lilith really was in the right mindset there.
You know what? She wanted to be empowered.
So she gets all pissed off. She runs away.
Classic women. Am I right?
Classic. And Adam goes, hey, God, my wife is running away. So they send some angels after her. She doesn't want to come back. So instead of coming back to be with Adam and having to have missionary sex for the rest of her life, she opts to be a demon and have 100 of her children die every day. I couldn't be more confused, but here we are.
Hold on. So she doesn't want to be Adam's submissive wife, so she has to become a demon and have 100 of her kids die every day.
100 of her kids die every day.
For the rest of time.
For the rest of time. How she's having enough children to have 100 die every... I don't know. So outside of the books that we specifically referenced, there are some other texts and lore that attribute Lilith to being the mother of earthbound demons, like our sexy demon succubi.
Succubus.
And incubi. Well, yeah, but succubi is like the plural, like when you got...
Oh, right. Wait,
like octopi. Yeah.
Wait, the Bible believes in succubis?
So it's kind of some like peripheral texts and religious lore.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, she's a lady demon. And these 100 children, not just human babies, incubi and succubi.
Demon babies that are gonna go
demon babies.
Seduce humans if they can.
Exactly. Also, Lilith is responsible for men's wet dreams. So there's that. And so because of the whole children death thing and some text about like, it says in there, like she says she'll have dominion over male and female children and whatever. They say that she's to blame for stillbirths and sudden infant death syndrome as well.
So if you don't want to be a good submissive wife, you're basically Lilith.
Yeah. And apparently everything is your fault.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's a good time for us to take a little break.
All right.
Yeah. So we're back. God told Adam he's the ruler of the world. Adam and Lilith are having their debacle, whatever. But as far as God's concerned, day 6, I'm done. Work is done. Tomorrow's my day off. And that's why the Sabbath exists.
Is that Sunday? Sunday's
Sunday.
The day of rest. What the fuck is the Sabbath? That's a Jewish thing, right?
That's a Jewish thing. Yep. And Sabbath is a word that you'll hear in Christianity, but for like it actually being observed, it's a Jewish thing where if you're really, really intense, you don't do any work. Some people don't even use electronics or any of that. You're
talking more probably about like Orthodox or Hasidic Judaism, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't see this in more modern Judaism. But yeah, there are groups who practice that way. And there are also groups of Christians. I actually met two people at a wedding not long ago who didn't use electronics, use money on the Sabbath. So it's a whole thing.
I'm sorry. Whenever you put Orthodox or fundamentalist in front of something, it starts getting real fucking slippery. Slippery slope.
Yeah, real slippery. God gets back to the creating and he makes Eden, the garden.
Right.
You know, that great
The
place.
snake comes there.
Yes. So he goes, all right, Adam, look, created you this sweet garden. It's amazing. It's got all these great fruit trees. See that one? That tree's fruit will give you the knowledge of good and evil. Just don't eat from that one. All the other ones, you're great.
But he
That
didn't want
one,
Adam to have
no.
the knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah, because apparently in the Bible, knowledge is a sin. Don't do it. It's bad.
Knowledge
It's real
is
evil.
not power. Knowledge is to be put on the
It is
shelf
not.
and locked in a box.
Yeah, exactly that. So God tells Adam, all right, you see all these animals? Just give them some names. So Adam's like, well, that's a cat. Can we make a shirt about it?
And then he made a shirt.
And then he made a shirt, except he's naked and he doesn't know it yet. So not yet. And then this is where God goes, fuck, Adam, your last wife was terrible. I guess you need a new wife. So to solve this, instead of creating another female out of earth, because then, she might think she's equal or something,
Ew.
he puts Adam asleep. Shh, go to sleep, sweet baby. He pulls a rib out of his body and he creates a woman out of Adam's rib. And I am pretty goddamn confident that my church once told me that men have one fewer rib than women because of this, and that shit is not accurate.
Just like you, though. The whole thing. Like, why is he surgically removing one of his bones and then making another person out of that? It's just like macabre.
Because it is macabre, but it's like, now, woman, you're made out of man, so now you gotta,
She's
you
less
wouldn't
than.
exist if it wasn't for man, so you better listen
So it
to
totally
him.
flips the whole, like, men come out of women's vaginas, therefore women create life.
Yes.
And it just flips that. It's like,
Yeah.
well, bitch, if you didn't come from his rib, then you wouldn't even be having the opportunity to push this fucking child out of your vag. That seems,
Yes.
that's all
And while
fucked
there
up.
are, throughout the Bible, there are a few strong, independent women, it get ready for a real men-centric vibe for a lot of the Bible. Yeah.
Did you know that like 80% of people in America believe in God?
That's so fucking crazy.
And about 85% of Danish people do not believe in God. It's like literally almost
makes
the
more
exact
sense to me.
opposite with the numbers. Like almost everyone there is atheist. And almost everyone here is like, I don't know which one or who, but I'm a religion. Yeah. I'm a
Well,
part
I mean,
of it.
look how Christian-centered our country is. Like, we're a country founded on quote-unquote religious freedom, but how many Christmas ads do you see compared to Hanukkah ads, Kwanzaa ads, fucking any other?
To be fair, the Christmas ads that I see never feature Jesus or anything like that. It's always like Santa and
Yeah, but-
what's it called? Commerce selling. Like Christmas isn't about the birth of Jesus.
Yeah.
I love fucking Christmas.
No.
I don't know shit about Jesus.
Me too.
Okay? Like to me, Christmas
I'm
is like
finding out.
Hallmark movies
Yeah.
and lights. Like it has nothing to
Oh,
do
girl.
with Jesus.
I 100% agree, but it is kind of crazy that we don't glorify holidays that are not Christian holidays.
No, that's true.
Other than what, Thanksgiving?
People get together on Easter, like my family used to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Eggs, bunnies.
bunnies and eggs.
We could do a
and
whole thing
chocolate.
about how
Not because of Jesus.
and all of the traditions that you know of are co-opted from paganism so that the pagans would be more likely to adopt Christianity. And oh my God, we could do a whole thing. But we got to talk about the Garden of Eden because we got a sneaky snake coming in.
Ooh, but now I want to hear about all that you just said.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Okay.
another episode.
Let's think about if that's a good episode because it might be. But yeah, Adam and Eve, they're chilling. They're walking around naked. They're like, this is great. We are outside. We are naked and we are loving life. And then all of a sudden, we get a sneaky snake that comes in.
Snaky.
Snake. Sneaky. Look, I'm a snake. I'm a sneaky snake. You ever see that video? It was like a viral YouTube video, 15 years ago probably?
No, but I just think of the snake
Oh,
from
I'll send it to you. It's so good.
The Jungle Book, you know?
I mean, that's a good one too. But I'm going to send you the snake. I'm a sneaky snake.
Okay, yeah, send me that.
He comes up in here, and mind you, according to the Bible, sneaky snakes used to have legs.
What? Doesn't that just make it a fucking lizard?
Well, yeah, but don't worry. Sneaky snake comes up. And he starts tempting Eve, who's just called the woman at this point, of course.
Wait, so there's Adam and the woman?
And
I
the
hate
woman.
this book.
I don't know if he's called Adam yet. He might be. I would have to go back and look. But there's some thoughts that the snake is Satan or a demon, but that's not really brought up yet. This is just literally, they're like, nah, it's a snake with legs.
So wait, they do all this stuff where they like go and explain stuff later from way before?
Oh, yeah. The back books of the Bible do a lot to talk about because the Bible's written by men. So like you think about the New Testament, they're looking back at the Old Testament and they're saying, oh yeah, this shit, I can add some context here. This shit really makes sense if you think about it this way.
Yeah, that's what like
so they basically
upsets me
add the context they want.
About the Bible is like, show me the fucking scribe,
The money.
who was just sitting in the corner observing, writing all this down, taking down quote, who saw this to write it down?
God delivered the word to men to write down. He told them. He told them what he did. And
Oh,
they
did
wrote
they
it.
like read it out of plates, out of a hat too?
Out of a hat with a tiny
Yeah, that
rock.
happened once.
Fuck, that's such a good episode. Okay, so Snake with Legs really wants Eve to eat that knowledge fruit tree.
It's an apple, right?
No, but like we've just turned it into an apple, but like it's not. It's just a fruit.
We just made it an apple. That's the whole like AD thing. It was like after death, apple, whatever, you know.
Apple. Yep, we just did that. And Eve's like, no, dude, I can't eat that. God said, no, I'm gonna die. And the snake's like, you won't die. You're gonna know shit. Don't you want to know shit? It's amazing. And she's looking and she's going, man, that fruit looks real good. And I would like to know things. And how dare women want to know things?
Or want to eat fruit.
Yeah. So she eats the fruit and then she goes to Adam and she's like, Adam, this fruit's fucking wild. I know so much now. You should eat the fruit.
I'm tripping balls. Have a bite.
Yes. Basically, this is the LSD tree. So then Adam eats the fruit. Now they know things. They know good and evil, and they see and know and understand. And that is considered the original sin.
And it was good.
It was probably real good. When we think about everything that happens, you'll hear them reference original sin. And basically, everyone just fucking blames Eve for fucking us all over. And the entire basis of Christianity is that Eve set us all up for failure by making us sinful, horrible people. And because of that, God had to send his son to take upon him the sins of the world and die for us so that we can go to heaven, because Eve ruined everything for us.
Fucking cunt. And she just bit that apple like a selfish
Ruined
little
it.
hoe, just wanting knowledge and like equality.
So then they eat this fruit, they look at each other and be like, holy shit, we're naked. That's not good.
Oh my
We shouldn't be.
God.
Oh my God. So they sew together fig leaves. And that's where you get the imagery of like whenever you see little leaves on top of people's private bits. That's where that comes from. Yeah. So they made some little clothes out of fig leaves. And
So wait, the serpent was the devil, right?
okay, so some people
Beelzebub.
believe yes. Some people believe it's just a snake. Yeah, Beelzebub. So it really just depends on who you're talking to. Some people think it's Satan. Some people think it's just this terrible serpent.
That is what is so wild to me about this whole thing. Is that
It's all
nobody
interpretation.
knows for sure. It's literally somebody's personal interpretation from reading the Bible themselves, or it's their pastor's interpretation, or their, I don't know, what are those other rabbi or the priest? There's all the people, the father, whatever.
And Ashley, this is the exact explanation for why there are so many branches of Christianity. Because anytime that someone doesn't like the interpretation, I mean, not anytime, that's how they all split off. They said, hey, I don't like the way that this church is teaching things. I'm going to teach it differently and start my own branch of
Right. Some
Christianity.
guy's like, well, that's funny because when I read the Bible and I read that passage, it definitely tells me the exact opposite thing that you're saying. So I'm going to go have my own church. And then that's how like religion
100%.
happened.
And that's how we got here. So God comes into the garden. It's like when you live too close to your parents or your in-laws and they just like drop by to visit for no reason without calling you or telling you in advance. They just show up. God drops down into Eden. He's like, hello, Adam and Eve, what you doing? And they go, oh shit, we gotta hide. We made these fig clothes, but we're still naked and now we're afraid. They're naked and afraid.
The original Naked and Afraid.
The original Naked and Afraid, Adam and Eve. And so God's going, hey, where art thou? Adam, Eve, where art thou?
This isn't good.
And Adam's hiding. And like the little fink that he is, he's like, I'm naked. And so I'm not going to come out. And so God goes, how did you know you're fucking naked, man? And Adam, snitches get stitches at him. He just goes, Eve gave me fruit and I figured out that I'm naked.
She did it.
She did it. It was her
Eve
fault.
did it.
So God is pissed. And Eve goes, it's the serpent. He did it. Which, fair enough. He did.
Yeah.
And then he's about to punish the shit out of them after this quick break. Okay, so God's pissed. So first he starts with the snake. Snakes used to have legs. Snake. And he goes, no more legs for you. You got to crawl on your belly. You're going to eat dirt all day, every day. You're done.
Because snakes weren't even a thing until God got mad at lizards.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. God's punishment for Eve is that childbirth is going to be painful and terrible.
Rude.
So labor,
That's the punishment? Yeah.
that's the punishment.
So if you ever want to keep creating life, which is basically like your fucking mission, lady, every time you're going to have a human just like rip through your fucking vagina.
Yeah, gotta be terrible. And he makes her purpose to serve her husband, and she shall be ruled by her husband. So God just sets up, he's like, you know, you're gonna have to have his babies. That's gonna fucking suck. And whatever he tells you to do, sorry, you gotta do it because he's a husband. Clearly, you can't be trusted to make your own decisions.
I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
He also punishes Adam. So he says, all right, Adam, you had all this food like right at your fingertips. You could have just walked around in this nice garden and chilled. Now you're gonna have to work for it. You're gonna have to struggle and toil for food and work for the rest of your life. So that's why we have to plant stuff.
God's not just giving it up anymore.
God's not just giving up the food anymore. Now, one thing that inspires a little debate is that here God also says that man has become, quote, one of us because he knows good and evil. And that has spurred debate on like, well, does that mean that God is in the same league with gods and angels? Because he said you're one of us. And that's just a fun little biblical thing. Versus being, you know, like man down here, God up here. So people think that means overall on the same level versus God rules everything and we're down here.
Wait, so Adam's on the same level as God now?
It's basically like the text says, man has become one of us because man knows good
But not
and evil.
woman?
Before, the only people who knew, well,
Okay.
and woman. Now we're in the like man.
Now we're just all part of man.
All part of man.
Mankind.
Yeah. Ugh, classic.
Right.
Mankind. Yeah. Yeah. Then he kicks him out of the garden. He says, this is it. You're never going to find this garden again. Get out of here. Go work for your food and have painful babies. That's the end of part 1. So that got us through Genesis 24.
How many Genesis are there?
It's a really good question. I don't know the answer to it off the top of my head. Genesis is a pretty solid long book. There's some good stories in Genesis.
So there's like the 3 different Bibles. Let's do a overall. What did Ashley learn? There's the Catholic Bible, the Jewish Bible, and the King James Bible. And the King James Bible is the Bible that's like widely used amongst Christians, but then there's like little different variations because people had different opinions and made their own jam, right?
Yeah, there are some other like sacred religious texts, but from where we're pulling and where we're mainly thinking about things, those would be your big 3.
Is the Old Testament and the New Testament, are those separate books?
They are part of what we think of as the Christian Bible. And so what you have to think of is King James is just one version.
Yeah,
it's like the
fuck
original.
Is King James also? Like, I put that question on the shelf, but who is that?
Put it on the shelf. I'll look it up.
You're like, stop it.
So the
I
King
don't
James
know.
version
Him.
is when you think of the translation you're probably most familiar with the these and the thous and all that. But there are other translations that are more colloquial. Also,
the Old Testament and the New Testament are 2 separate books.
Parts of the Bible, but they are both a part of the Christian Bible. So if you bought a Bible today, it would have the Old and the New Testament in it.
Okay. Would it have the book of Revelations?
Yep, that's the very last book of the Bible.
So
it is in the New Testament.
How many books are in the Bible book? That's so confusing. So there's this one book called the Bible, right? But how many books are inside that one?
There are 66 books
in
the
one
Bible.
book?
In one book. Yep. So yeah,
there's like Psalms
is a book of the Bible.
And Genesis and Revelations.
Yeah.
I know those.
Those are all different books of the Bible.
And then there's like John.
The Gospel
of
John, yep.
Jacob.
He's just a person. He doesn't have his own book, but we'll
Jingleheimer Smith. John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith.
Jingleheimer Schmidt. His name is my name too.
Wait, is he in the Bible?
Well, not Jacob, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, but like Jacob and John are both in there.
That's a real fucking person from the Bible.
No,
his name is my name too.
Yeah. So when we talk about the Bible is a book.
Okay, so no, wait. I'm actually, that really clears things up for me. The Bible's, it's just one book with 66 quote unquote books inside of it. Let's just fucking, can we call them chapters? I mean, I feel like that makes a lot more sense.
No, you have to think about how they were originally written, right? They weren't written by one guy who sat down and wrote the Bible. All of these separate books were written by different people at different times. And then a council got together and said, these are the ones that we think are correct. This is the Bible. That's, like I said, we can dive into that another time.
Job wrote his own book?
Yep. Job is a book.
Did he write it about himself?
Probably not.
Okay.
No, it's probably a different person who God delivered the story of Job into their brain and then they wrote it down.
Got it.
It's probably how that happened.
Hold on. Do we know who this Council of Men is? Like, have they ever been identified?
We do, but they have, but I would have to tell, we're going to have to talk about that another time. It's a whole thing.
I just want to know the yes or no.
I'm like, Ashley, let me tell tell you how the Bible's organized.
Sorry, wait. But like the council is identified later.
Not in the Bible. That happened. Okay. Whew. All right. I love you so much.
Wait.
Wait. This is my favorite. I feel like I'm teaching middle school Bible study again. This is so
No,
great.
I said I want you to explain like I'm
I love
5.
it. All
So
right.
wait, you don't have to give me the whole history, but like this council of men who like decided what was going to go in the Bible, we've like identified these dudes. It's not like just like this like ethereal group of dudes.
No, it was Constantine and his people.
Cool. Yeah, you can tell me about that later.
And so you've got, it's a whole thing. But yeah, so the Bible's one big book. And then we call each of those separate sections books: the book of Genesis, the book of Revelations, the book of Job, the book of Psalms, the book, all the books, because they were all separate books at one point. And then each of those books have chapters. So when you look at those big chunks of text that have a big number in front of them, those chunks are chapters. And then within each of the chapters, every basically individual sentence or two, any kind of phrase of note, is a verse.
Ugh.
So when you say Genesis 4:11, you're talking about the book of Genesis, chapter 4, verse 11.
That is like so cryptic, dude.
Man, it's funny. I still have some verses memorized, like Acts 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, said the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. That's from the New Living Translation. So it's not fancy, but fucking, I still have that one. I memorized that when I was 13 years old, 20 years ago. That's upsetting.
In and Out on the bottom of their cups and shit, they put like something. It says like
probably John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that all who believe in him would not perish but instead have eternal life.
Probably. That sounds like
that's
apropos.
That's the verse people usually quote because it's about Jesus and how he came and died for us.
John 23.
John 3:16.
Just gonna drop a quick John 3:16 on you, Michelle.
Drop a John 3:16.
Do people ever talk to each other like that? Are they ever like, you know what? Why don't you just think about that? And while you do, check out Genesis 11:17. Just drop it like that.
Kind of. You're not far off from some of my experiences.
It's like, I'm just going to give you this like code of like words and numbers, and then you go look that up, and it's going to give you a secret message that's going to answer the question that you just asked, but not at all.
Yeah. Or it's going to shame you for how you've behaved. Oh, you did that thing?
Job 11:2, you're a bad person. And it was good.
And God said, you suck. And it was good. All right, my dear. Well, that's the first fucked up section of the Bible.
This is my new favorite.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I had a lot of fun. It's fun to use this knowledge of good and evil that I've had for good and not just have it sitting in my brain space, just taking up room that could be used for other important things like how to do taxes. So, hey, at least
you can totally tell though, like I'm so enthralled just by the way that I'm looking at you the whole time.
Well, because usually you're the one that's like, Michelle, ad break. And I was like, and it's time for a break. You're like,
oh, it is?
Oh, yeah.
No,
yeah, it is.
Time completely flew. I was fascinated. I'm so excited. Like, I've wanted somebody to explain the Bible to me for so long because I do think it's interesting, but I'm not at all interested in reading it on my own.
That's
and I want somebody to explain it in the simplest of terms, which you're doing a great job at. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm here for you. And I'm so stoked to just keep working our way through.
QQ. Does the Noah's Ark come like soon?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll get there. Yep. Noah's Ark is in Genesis too.
Okay.
So.
I was like, I feel like after he makes all the animals, pretty soon a big flood comes.
Yeah.
I know the Bible's so good, dude.
You got this. Yeah. There's a big theme of punishment in the beginning of the Bible. Really throughout the Old Testament, but like the beginning, it gets
a lot of punishy.
God gets real mad at people. A lot of punishments.
You know what, though? If we were created in God's image, like maybe I can buy that because I'm fucking pissed too. And he sounds angry. Does he become like a loving, benevolent dude at some point?
He does. In the New Testament.
Because in the Old Testament, like homie should go to like some anger management classes or something.
Therapy. Yeah. But then he, settles down a little bit. I mean, he loves us enough that he
died for our sins on the cross, right?
Yeah. He made a baby with a virgin and sent that baby to die. But also that baby is him. Because of the Holy Trinity. So it's a whole...
Okay, obviously we'll get into that, but he's...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right, because God made the baby, and he was like, you gotta go die now for everybody. So he, like, made this baby, and then was like, and I'm gonna murder you.
Yeah. And also God is the baby because the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are the three components of God, and they just are all...
Well, now you just mind-fucked me for the rest of the day. Like, I thought I had things kind of figured out, and now I need another cup of coffee. Because what? I hope that you enjoyed the shit out of Ash and Michelle Do the Bible as much as we did. Patrons, hope you're excited for the new segment. And non-patrons, hopefully this really tickled your butt and you want to sign up. Patreon.com/TSFU. Over a dozen ad-free episodes a month. Exclusive monthly Ash and Michelle Do the Bible. Stickers, fucking full back catalog. So like 150 ad-free episodes. Oh, the first 2 seasons, 24 episodes are retros, which are not available on the regular feed. If you go over to Patreon, not only do you get all the episodes ad-free, but you 25 of the retro plus 30, you get almost 60 episodes that are not on the regular feed by joining Patreon. That's a hot
crazy
score, if you ask me.
That is a hot score. Well, Ashley, thank you for getting biblical with me.
Let's get biblical.
Biblical.
I wanna get biblical. Biblical.
Get into the Bible, yeah. Let me hear you, Jesus talk.
Jesus
Jesus
talk.
talk.
Bum 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 bum. That's fucked up. So fucked up. Can't you see? It's just really fucked. That's fucked up.